everybody, welcome into Beyond the Forecast. I'm just shaking my head because Kevin over there wearing the sunglasses. It's a nice sunny day on the day that we're recording this, so that's probably why he's wearing the sunglasses.
There is not a cloud in the sky today, and even if you're seeing this Thursday, there's probably not many clouds to speak of today either. So this has just been a stretch of weather that I think a lot of us have eagerly awaited for. I'll save the shades for when I'm actually outside.
Yeah, why not you do that? We missed you last week.
I think I
you were
had
gone
a good fill-in.
Exactly. I mean, we had Cap here. We were talking about the 1998 Mechanicville tornado. A lot of good stuff. We had file video in there. And to get the first-hand account of kind of how things went that day, that was the big thing. So I think I've lost track on what episode we're on, 27 maybe?
I think it might be 26, but also, like, now I have no confidence.
Yeah, 26 or 27.
I produced 2 weeks ago, right? I think that was 24. So.
All right, so we might be on 26. Don't want to really spend a whole lot of time talking about our stuff because we have a jam-packed show today. A lot of folks have probably been hearing about this developing El Nino that may become a super El Nino.
Super El Nino.
We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about maybe what it means for us here in the capital region and the Northeast. Sorry, I cut you off, Kevin. There we go.
Might be some surprising results on that.
There might be. There might be. I don't know if I showed you the graphics, but there are some surprising numbers there. I did all of the years that I looked at.
Oh boy, look at that paper.
So yeah,
I'm proud of you.
I like handwritten stuff, and then I put it into graphic form. So that's what we did. So. We're going to talk about the developing El Nino because it's not fully developed yet.
No.
It's kind of on its way. What it means for, I say global weather, but more so for the United States. What is the impact here locally? What can we expect this summer and maybe even dabble in possibly a winter outlook with an El Nino. Now, I will say we have tropical stuff to talk about too, but that's actually going to be next week. So stay tuned for that. Pretty interesting stuff on that one, too. Things you might not think. So what is an El Nino, Kevin? Basically, you have warmer sea surface temperatures developing in the equatorial Pacific Ocean, so off the coast of South America. Basically, the trade winds kind of break down. Wind in this part of the world typically blows east to west, kind of opposite from what we're used to here in the Northeast. And when these winds weaken, they allow the pooled warmer waters off to the west, as I push my microphone out of the way, to kind of bubble up towards the east. So that's basically what an El Nino is in the very simple terms.
Yeah.
But what makes it super? Kevin, do you want to take that? We do have the notes. So
I mean, it's
there's a lot to talk about.
It's simply stronger. I mean, obviously El Nino warmer. You mentioned warmer than average waters, but this one in particular just looks to get a little bit more above average in terms of temperature.
And typically, I think for a super El Nino, it has to be at least 2 degrees Celsius or more above average, or 3.6 degrees Fahrenheit. That's kind of the comparison. Now, I do have, these are the observed temperature departures. So I am going to put this up full because there's a lot on here. There's 4 different regions that they look at in the Pacific. So you see Niño 4, Niño 3.43, and then 1.2. 1.2 is the closest to South America. And we're going to show you the actual temperature differences. I mean, it is pretty cool when you look at the map. But you can see the area 1 and 2, those departures are closing in on 2 degrees above average. That's in Celsius. Niño 3, that's 0.9. Oh, it's right there, 0.8. I was looking at the chart. I didn't realize that they had it written there. 3.4, 0.5 degrees above, and then 4 is 0.7 degrees above. So I'm not exactly sure if they all need to be above 2. Yeah. They have different regions, and they all mean slightly different things.
Well, what you can tell right away is that particularly 3, 3.4, and 4 have spent a lot of time cooler than average over the past 8 to 10 months before.
Yeah, that goes all the way back to July of 25.
Yeah, so basically since last summer, they've been running cooler than average.
That's why we've been in La Nina.
You can see ever since like mid-April, we've reverted that, and rather quickly too.
Yes.
I mean, I
Yes.
know we're talking about like tenths or 2/10 of a degree on the y-axis on the left side of the graph there. It goes from like 0 to 0.3 or 0 to 0.2. So it can make it look a little bit bigger than reality. But when you're talking about Celsius temperature of ocean water,
Ocean
that
water in
is a lot.
particular, right? I
That
mean, because
is
it takes a lot really to warm water. It takes a lot more to warm the water than it does to warm the air.
Like 2 degrees doesn't sound like much,
No.
but it has a huge impact.
It is. It does. Now, I think the next graphic, Kevin, is all right, so these are the actual observed sea surface temperatures. These are in Fahrenheit.
I would hope they're not Celsius.
Well, I just want to make it clear. We do have
very warm waters.
Yes.
I'm just saying that we haven't been on the screen in a while. Rob.
Oh, well, I wasn't sure. He was making gestures at me, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. So that's kind of why I abruptly stopped talking.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I mean, yeah, this is warm. I mean, temperatures in the 80s, you expect it to be warm like that near the equator anyways.
Yeah.
But here are the current anomalies, and these are in Celsius. I wanted to make sure that it matches what we're talking about for El Nino purposes. And you could see that 2.4, that's in that 1 and 2, I think, Niño 1 and 2 that's closest to South America.
Right.
And that is the warmest area right now in regards to average. You get close to the middle of the Pacific and you're looking at about a degree above average. And again, the resolution on this likely isn't as strong or as good as it is in other forms of recording. So we just saw those numbers, the official numbers that they actually have reported.
Resolution, no resolution. I mean, it's a big blob of orange and red. So
I'm just saying for temperature-wise,
yeah,
it may be 0.8, but this is picking up 1.
Right.
You know. I think that, okay, so.
For the country.
Yeah, I feel like I'm taking a lot for this. So do you want to take this over? And I'll talk about the precipitation impacts, I think is next.
Yeah, so when you have the El Nino and La Nina, it kind of alters where there's a stronger moisture feed in a general pattern. You know, we have the jet stream. That's like what you're seeing in the white arrows above is like the typical flow or the mean flow. Like on average, it sets up there. That doesn't mean that if you have an El Nino for like 7 months, it's just going to stay there.
Yeah.
But
there's fluctuations.
Yeah, and we know that. Otherwise, weather would be way easier to predict.
Very stagnant.
I'm just saying that, like, in general, you get more moisture to ride in over portions of northern Mexico as well as the southern U.S. And what that has typically translated to is cooler temperatures than average over the south central and southeastern U.S., especially closer to the Gulf Coast. And with the jet stream generally bulging northward, that is, of course, allowing some warmer air to work farther north than it typically would. And again, that's over the course of a long period of time, like several weeks and months, not necessarily every day. But of course, when you see El Nino, is you head west of the northeast, generally, is where you really start to see the
especially in the Rockies, Western Canada.
It's a more substantial increase of temperature. It's a little bit more meaningful for those folks.
Yes. Typically.
Yeah.
Typically. Obviously, as Kevin said, I mean, there's going to be fluctuations. There's going to be, where we get a warm up or we get,
And no surprise that we're talking about a strong moisture feed, keeping things cool. Of course, it's wetter than average as well. Monsoon season in the Southwest is a bit more substantial during El Nino years. And wetter conditions typically will go all the way into even portions of the mid-Atlantic coast. Now, it's a pretty quick and dramatic decrease to the north. You go from like wetter than average conditions on a, for a long period of time to you get into the Ohio Valley, you get into the center of the country, you get closer to the Canadian border, and it's very much drier than average.
And the reason for, look at the jet stream. There's the storm track there keeps everything bottled up to the north, or of course you see here you have that strong moisture feed that's basically keeping all the storms suppressed to the south. Big ridge of high pressure in the country. So I know we kind of have some dry conditions out there now. We hope that will change as we go forward, and it's possible.
Yeah,
they
could use some rain out there.
Yes,
but, they did get like the Rockies. I'm sure you're talking about, Rob. They did get some late season Snow, rain.
I mean, I was talking about us too. We have been a little dry.
We've been a little dry,
know.
but not too big of a concern.
Now, all the indications are right now. I just want to make sure that I am getting this correctly, because I did. So I did not mention this. These intense super El Nino events, relatively rare.
Yeah.
Relatively occurring between every 10 to 20 years. Notable years: 1982, 1983, 1997, 1999. 2015 and 2016. El Nino usually lasts about 9 to 12 months, so it kind of depends. Now, right now, okay, here it is. Technically, we are in neutral conditions. However, all indications point to a rapidly developing El Nino and likely a strong El Nino by later in the year. So what you're looking at here, I'm going to put this up full.
Yeah.
The x-axis, that's April, May, June, July, July, August. So like it's 3-month clusters. Yep. And right now we are in that very neutral category. But notice, once we get into May, June, July, obviously we're in June now. Moderate El Nino is looking pretty good, 70% chance. And as we get closer towards those winter months, you start to see that darker red up at the top. That is indicating a 1 in 3 chance of a strong El Nino developing, especially by this winter.
Yeah, and that darker red is very strong. We're talking strong El Nino for, let's say, November, December, January, some of the coldest months of the year. You add up the two parts of that graph, it's about 70%. So very strong linking that way. And even if it's somewhat, I mean, the other bar below that's moderate, and that gets you to about 92%.
Exactly.
So it's happening.
It is happening. It's just a matter of how strong. And a lot of the ensemble guidance that I've looked at, Kevin, is actually showing this could be the strongest that we've seen on record. You know, yet to be determined, obviously. And a lot can change. Models can only do so much. So while I'm going to put us on camera because I just want to make sure for the next graphic, I think we might be coming to our first break. Yes, we are. So we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about El Nino's past.
Yes.
And what it did for temperatures, precip, and snowfall.
Rob did so much digging for this information. And I'm honestly I loved seeing you come up with the results. And I think there's going to be some interesting takeaways.
Yes, because you hear a lot of noise. But is the noise accurate? And we're going to tell you when we come back after this break. And welcome back into Beyond the Forecast. Kevin, we're going to be talking about El Nino's past before you were even born. Listen, one of them I wasn't born for either. So, but actually two of them. Because one of them actually was in the 1800s. So we're actually I want to show
1800s.
Yes. So, all right, this is what we've got. This is the strong El Nino of 1997. I don't know when it became strong, so that is the only factor that might be a little different than this year. But you can see the temperatures, they were all below average through December. A big below average. I don't know how that's not how I'm
well below average
there we go.
Conditions.
In October and November. 3 to almost 5 degrees below average.
Yeah, that's a big departure in November.
But all summer long, June, July, August, all 3 months, a half a degree or more below average. All fall months below average. And then look at January and February.
Winter months.
A big jump above average. That's significant. 5 degrees above average in February, that's huge.
That's a lot of rain.
That is
instead of
huge.
snow.
Well, maybe snow. You never know.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah.
I didn't say all, but
because now we're going to talk about the precip. This, I see no correlation. I see absolutely no correlation.
What the heck happened in November?
Actually, it's funny because there was a big snow in November.
Yeah.
They had a lot of snow in
Low
November
average
that year.
temps, okay.
Yep. So I think that's where you got that surplus.
Wow.
But aside from that, I mean, the summer months, June, July, below average.
June.
August, a little bit above. And then it's kind of all over the place. You know, it's funny. I saw November. I was like, oh, that must have been a tropical. And I was like, oh, wait, that's November. I was like, I don't think that was. It could have been. But
I think you were right to look.
When we look at the snowfall for that year, almost a foot of snow in November. That's over 9 inches above average.
Yeah.
December was a little bit above. And then obviously those warmer months, January and February.
Still impressed January got 13 and
13 and a half. But I bet you they were those little front end ones where you had kind of the snow and then it changed to sleet and rain and, you know, things of that nature. A lot of mixed
precip that year. We really didn't have a lot of mixed events this past winter.
We did not. The last 2 winters I don't think we have.
Definitely not this winter.
So, I don't know. All right, now we're going to go to 1982. So this is another year that folks may remember. That summer was very cold.
Wow.
3 to almost 6 degrees colder than average every month.
I don't want June to have an average temp of 62.9. Sorry,
unbelievable.
Selfishly.
Even July is only 70.
Wow. Hey, that'd be great because air conditioning is expensive. So.
And then September still had the deficit. October still had the deficit. But then we went right into
cold months.
Your surplus or above average November and December. But look at January and February. This is opposite of what 1997 brought. And January was just slightly below average, and February was right exactly average. So, again, so far in temperature-wise, no correlation in the winter months, at least what I'm deducing here, but a cooler than average summer.
Cooler than average summer seems to be, and probably one that's kind of kept down by. Well, that's not true because in
the
June
other one wasn't. Yeah,
I was saying June of 1997, it was the precip was so much less. Did it just go back to one of them?
Yeah, I don't know why.
That's all right.
I put that in there twice. Okay, well, we don't have everything that I thought we did.
The precip,
unfortunately,
the only thing I will say about like summer precip is sometimes you're 10 miles away from such a radically different
That's
result.
just it. You're at the mercy of any thunderstorms that develop. You're at the mercy of any tropical systems that develop. You could have a dry summer because you didn't have any tropical moisture. Or you didn't have thunderstorms because you were under a big ridge. Or,
so you could have a wetter than average month and it was picked up.
It was
on
from
a handful
one
of days.
thunderstorm. Yeah, one thunderstorm where you got an inch and a half of rain.
All you need is one cold front to like slow down a bit. So I don't mean to.
Not even a cold front, just
pop-up storm.
Pop-up storm in general that just kind of sat over the airport. Yeah.
It happens.
Well, because I don't have the info right here, I do want to make mention 1982. So the precip, June was above average, and actually June of 1982 was the 4th coldest June on record.
Oh, I'm not surprised by the 5.5.
July was under for precip. August was under for precip, but it also came in as the 4th coldest August on record at 65.5 degrees. September was dry. October was dry. November was slightly above average for precip. December was dry, 8 inches below average for snow. January was very wet. And in fact, you had a foot surplus of snow, 27.5 inches of snow that month.
Okay.
And February, slightly dry, precip-wise, but you still had a surplus of about 4 inches of snow at 17.4 inches. So, pretty good. Now, 1877, that was the other strong year that I was looking at. I must have thought that I put that in here, and I guess I didn't. October that year, 7.86 inches of rain.
Oh.
7th wettest October on record.
Yeah.
December then turns around and becomes the 6th driest December on record with 0.7 of an inch of precip. So, there's a lot of swings here. But they still had the same idea. June was cooler than average. July was cooler than average. August was about average, slightly above, 0.4.
Yeah.
September was slightly above, 0.1. October was cool. November was pretty much close to normal. December was warmer. And then January and February were significantly colder.
So the takeaway that I'm getting, at least, as somebody that didn't dig into the data as much as you did, is that the summers, I wouldn't expect big warmth.
Ton of heat. I mean, not to say that there wasn't heat during those months, because obviously I'd have to go through and actually look at the dates.
No, there had to be. We're not saying there's not going to be a heat wave even, but probably a fair share of cooler than average days, maybe some cool crisp mornings to kind of skew the temperature. Well,
look at June already.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were above average for the high, but we're going to go down as below average for the day because the low in the morning. We're going to probably do the same thing this morning or today.
Yeah.
When we're recording this.
45 this morning.
45 this morning will be mid 80s this afternoon.
65.
The high is above average, but the low is 8 degrees below. So yeah. As for what this does to the weather across North America, I just have some notes here that I want to make sure that I hit on.
Yeah.
Can cause heavy rainfall, flooding, and severe storms in California and the southern United States. So this is usually when they kind of see their droughts busted. These types of patterns are when you do see the quote-unquote perma-droughts that last for a very long time in the South, kind of taken care of by all the rain that they get. Simultaneously bringing drought to Central America and the Amazon. So there is a reverse effect in South America. A lot of times in these situations, we are too far away from the source, and we really do rely on other global patterns to really dictate what we're seeing here, especially in the winter, because I've seen everything from strong El Niños providing a lot of snow to not a lot of snow to warmer than average temperatures to cooler than average temperatures. So to me, I don't think there's really any direct correlation here in the Northeast. I even have written here, quite honestly, it could be hot, it could be cool. Obviously, we just showed you the example. Same thing goes for precipitation. Jet stream is nearby, but if there's no storms riding along that jet stream, we don't get any precipitation.
Yeah.
So long-term forecasting, it can be done with a general look.
Yeah.
No specifics.
Absolutely not.
So based on this, let's look and see what the Climate Prediction Center is thinking for June, July, and August. A slight lean towards above average. Doesn't mean that we're going to be above average, but we have a slight lean with near normal or equal chances through the Ohio Valley, Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northern Plains, which makes sense based on how El Niño works. Above average out west, that makes sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that they're going for above average in the south, though.
Yeah.
Surprised they don't have the near average down there. Precip-wise, it's a little all over the place. This just looks funky. Again, a slight lean of above average here in the Northeast. Not quite sure why. I don't know if maybe they see tropical moisture or...
Hurricanes. We're going to talk about hurricane next week.
Yes.
Or the tropical season.
And that might bring you some surprises, too.
Yeah.
Obviously, the desert Southwest, that makes sense for above average with that flow of moisture. I'm surprised for the South, though.
Yeah, and even if you head towards right along the coast, in portions of Louisiana and Texas, you can see a little bit of that tan shading below average. I think it's funny that they even drew that, to be honest with you. That's such a, I get it.
But to me, that's suggesting that they're not thinking any big tropical systems in the Gulf.
Yeah.
Not to say there's not going to be one, because one makes exactly one changes everything. But yeah, I'm going to bring us up on camera because I think that might be the last graphic for this. Yeah, so we are going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about what to expect for next week. Still related, though, to El Niño. Don't go away. And welcome back to Beyond the Forecast. Kevin, I think looking back at years past, seasons past, I think kind of brought some surprises.
Yeah.
It surprised me because everything you always hear is, oh, it's going to be so hot, it's going to be so dry. The data says otherwise for temperatures.
Especially in
so
summer. I mean,
yeah.
those strong El Nino years that just don't have, they're well below, not even just like barely below average. I mean, we're talking like 5 degrees below average for monthly temperature. Like, I'd be dancing all over with the mobile storm tracker if that was the case, like sometime recently. But I mean, what did May come in? Like 1.7 degrees below normal. So like even that felt big, but it was nothing compared to.
It's just some of these summer months.
Yeah,
I know.
with
It's
the
crazy.
strong El Nino.
It's crazy.
Super El Nino.
But we'll see. I mean, like I say, I don't know exactly when these became super. It could have been they were super in the spring and then, had the impacts in the summer. So, but, I mean, we'll see. Time will tell. But right now.
Always does.
Exactly. Right now, I don't think there's going to be any prolonged heat aside from the short term that we're looking at right now. But that's
going to say, the long range looks toasty.
Next week, we'll kind of recap a little bit about what we talked about this week with El Nino, and then we'll dive deeper into kind of what to expect for hurricane season. We've got the forecast from NOAA, we've got the forecast from Colorado State, and we've got the averages. I also have a look back at these El Nino years and what they produced for Atlantic hurricanes.
That'll be good.
Again, a lot of digging, but I think some of the results may surprise you. Maybe not. I don't know. Based on what we said today, maybe it won't surprise you.
Maybe it won't be a surprise. Considering we're like, you might be surprised.
I know. Well, but until then, as always, if you have a question, you want to email Kevin or myself, our email addresses are right there. In fact, that's what brought this on. I know a lot of people are talking about it. People were actually asking me, what is this? Is this going to have an impact on us? And I hope this answered some of your questions.
The boy, that's what it means, right? El Nino in Spanish.
All right, with that.
Wow. Well, hold on, we got some time. El Nino.
I think you're right.
I'm like almost positive. It's been a couple of years since I took a class.
Maybe. No, you might be right.
Well, it's taking forever to load in here. We could just assume it's the boy.
All right, we'll have that answer for you next week.
I can't believe it.
Do you have it yet or no?
No, it's taking forever, of course. Anticlimactic end to the show, folks. Sorry. Kevin strikes again.
The boy. It just came up. Sorry. I'm like, we're running out of time. All right, have a great weekend, everybody. Enjoy the warmth. Watch out for those showers on Saturday and Sunday. And then it's right back to the races for the warmth next week.
Let's do it.
Yep. See you next week.